What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. You can text us 865-658-5824. Joined alongside Tim live in Green Bay. We may have Emilio joining shortly. I don't know. He might be running from the law or something right now. Tim, you never know what's going on down there in the just south of Knoxville. Things get a little wacky, if you know what I mean. But how you doing tonight, pal?
I'm doing good. I'm sure Emilio's behaving. He's a law-abiding citizen. For sure.
I wouldn't call Emilio a pillar of the community or anything myself. That's just my opinion, but I could be wrong. I don't know. But so obviously it is a Victory Monday. I'm excited to get in here and talk some Packers, man. It was an absolute blast today. First of all, the Bears, the gift that the Bears gave us last night as the NFL week wrapped up.
Still
man,
suck.
Let me tell you, it's the gift that keeps on giving. We're going to talk about that. Obviously, we're going to cover it. To get my fans situated here.
Ain't no problem.
It was just
that ain't no problem.
Well, Tim, this might be my favorite week of NFL football, barring any kind of playoff win or obviously the Super Bowl win.
Playoffs?
This week was just awesome, dude. The Packers go out there and get a much needed W. They do it staring, adversity right in the face. Which was just awesome to see. And then the Bears to stink up the joint there to wrap up that 4:00 hour was just absolutely awesome, man. And I know
I had more fun watching them try and run the old refrigerator Perry move and having it completely backfire. That was equally, if not more entertaining than the piss poor effort on the Hail Mary there. That was great. Yeah. Either way, thanks, Chicago. Thanks, Chicago. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chicago. We appreciate you. Let's see. Nick McSwain in the chat says, "Sup, PTA? The amount of doom and gloom I've seen is insane. LOL. You'd think it was a 52-14 loss with how people are talking online." Nick, we were just talking about that offline, man. Me and Tim.
Yep.
And again, what it is, it's false expectations. We talked about it all week long. You're talking about a 4-point spread, and the amount of people that have more faith in their personal opinion of how a football game is going to play out over the literal experts around the game. And listen, the experts even get it wrong, right? They get it wrong a lot.
Yep.
But they get it right enough to make a boatload of money handicapping games and everything. And you're going to get some that get out of hand quick, and there'll be the big surprises. There'll be the big upsets. There'll also be the ones, well, yep, we've seen that coming. But a game like yesterday, man, first of all, it's on the road. You're only 4-point favorites, right? And we know how the Packers play in the heat. We've seen that time and time again. And on top of that, your starting quarterback gets hurt after the first drive, and he tries to eke it out. I just don't know what people are expecting. I really don't. And I honestly believe that negative part of the fan base, I don't want to be mean and say they're just wanting to be miserable, but their first instinct is, what went wrong? Why did we not win by 60 points? And I will never understand it. I just don't get why people
either.
So
it's not easy to win in this league, man. It's not.
It's really not. And again, that's why I'm laughing about it, because it's like it's going to happen again next week. Like, the line's coming up, and we're going to have plenty of time to break that down. We're going to focus on Victory Monday, and we're going to turn this positive. I don't want to say I hate that we had to start it negative, because I wanted to read Nick's comment, because I'm seeing the same thing, Nick. You're not, you're not the only one out there. But like the Lions, everyone's already going to paint this picture that the Packers have absolutely no shot at beating the Lions. Listen, it's going to be an uphill battle. If Jordan doesn't play, and we'll talk about that, he's, I think, week to week or day to day right now is what they're saying, which, we know what that can mean. If he doesn't play and we go with Malik Willis,
we still have a chance to win.
Absolutely, because there's so many things that can go wrong, man. There's so many things that can go wrong for the Lions, and all of a sudden you got a 10-point lead, and they have to change their game plan, and now they're playing into your hands, and vice versa. So what I'm saying is, if the Lions boat raced us by 30 points, I'm not going to get on here, act depressed, and pretend like I'm surprised. If the Packers eke out a 3-point win, I'm not going to get on here and go, whoa, can you believe we beat the big bad Lions? It happens every single week in the National Football League. So,
yep.
I don't know if it makes sense, but I'm with you, Nick. I'm glad you brought that up, because I've been seeing it too. It's just, man, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. He also said Caleb Williams had like 50 yards or something stupid before the fourth quarter. He had less than 100 yards passing going in the fourth quarter, Tim. which was just absolutely wild, man.
And then he's screaming at his teammates after the Hail Mary.
Wasn't it amazing that his completion percentage, if I remember correctly, was 41%. He completed 41% of his passes. Could not do anything offensively all day long. His defense kept him in the game all day long. And then they connect on that Hail Mary, and he's shouting at his teammates on the field. Like,
right.
And again, elite arm talent. This is what we talked about. Elite arm talent. That's the type of stuff I'm talking about. When things are going good, he's going to be a lot of fun, and he's going to be Mr. Rah-Rah, and everybody's going to love him in Chicago. But the thing you really learn about someone when things go bad, like think of Jordan last year. Got off to that horrible start, just kept his head down, kept working, didn't pass blame, was shouldering all the blame on himself. They could turn it around. When you get a quarterback who doesn't act like a leader, those type of things are going to rear its ugly head, and it's not going to happen when you're winning. It's going to happen when you lose.
Look at what's happening down in Indy right now, what they're dealing with at the quarterback position.
What a wild story that is, man.
Yeah.
If for those of you who don't know, if you watch the McAfee show, him being an Indianapolis Colts fan, obviously he talked about it extensively. But essentially, Anthony Richardson, who, by the way, I got roasted for basically my draft board had him at the top. But when a listener asked me to break down the quarterback class, like how I feel, my personal opinion, which I don't like doing, he was the bottom of the top quarter. I had him below CJ. I had him below Will Levis, actually, because accuracy is not that easy to fix, right?
Yep.
We're seeing Jordan Love. His accuracy is still an issue, right? It takes a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. And the vibe I always got from Anthony Richardson was he's big, fast, physical, just this absolute dog of an athlete, but he doesn't seem like a film junkie. He doesn't have that gene that like a Peyton Manning, a Tom Brady, those type of guys have. And that's the same thing can be said for Caleb Williams. Now, on the other side, Jaden Daniels, the message I was trying to send going into that draft, Tim, was if I was the Bears, I would try to trade down with Washington. And what I mean by that is I would be okay with taking both, but I would prefer Jaden Daniels. So rather than take Jaden Daniels, I would have went to Washington and said, hey, man, we've got like 3 or 4 calls coming in, people that want to trade up and get Caleb. Would you, is that somebody you're interested in, or are you set on Daniels? And if they go, well, yeah, man, we got a higher grade on Caleb. All right, cool. What would you give me? If it's a trade back 1 pick and pick up a 3rd round pick, you get your guy and you pick up a 3rd round pick, right? That's what I would have done if I was Chicago. Now, I'm glad they didn't because, again, it's boom or bust. Caleb could turn out to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, or things could go south and he ends up being a problem. So nonetheless, I'm glad you brought that up though, because this right here, Tim, this was the highlight of the evening. We're going to play it once and then we'll move on to the Packers. But this guy right here, I don't know how it made you feel, but Joe Abdo, I hope I'm saying that right, at Joe_ABDO. Make sure you give us a retweet and everything. It's up to 6.1 million views on Twitter. And he said, crazy video I got of the Commanders versus Bears walk-off. He didn't even realize what he got when he got it, but we're going to play it here. I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit. What I want you guys to key on, you've probably already seen it, but this guy right here on screen, he's basically jawing with the fans. And there's one there in the background. Look in the background. The ball snapped. Look at this. Look at this idiot. Right? And Jaden Daniel, look now, and here's what makes it so great. He now sprints over. Okay, let me show you how to make this play, right? He gets in position, and he is the knucklehead that actually bats this ball up into the air, which goes for a Washington Commanders touchdown. I pause for a dramatic effect. Like, Tim.
The Bears still suck.
Winning is, a winning culture is a real thing. And what we just talked about with Caleb Williams, right? When it's me, let me draw attention to me. Let me paint my nails and show everybody, look, everybody stare at me. I'm going to be eccentric. I'm going to be different. So I get all this attention. And I'm telling you, that stuff just goes right down the line in your organization. Your quarterback is the CEO of your organization. And your CEO is basically saying me getting attention is more important than the team. And lo and behold, you got a defensive back here that – what do you think about that, bro?
I mean, that just shows you, right? Like, I talk about our boys, making mistakes and playing undisciplined and things, but we never see any nonsense like that. I mean, you got a guy back to the line of scrimmage, ball snap. Look at this. Look at it. Oh, it's just ridiculous. Like, I'm sure Coach Len, if he's in the chat today, he could probably attest. He would be irate, fuming. That guy would be running sprints until he pukes at practice
no
the next day, and probably won't see the field for a while. I don't know how they coach nowadays, but back in our day, Clayton, that would get you benched probably for at least a week. Try to make an example and get your locker room back, because what it points to is an undisciplined organization, a team that clearly, like you said, has their priorities out of whack. If it's all about the flash and me, and look at us, we beat you in your building. Oh, you think you're going to get this Hail Mary? Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, well, with your help, we did. That's detrimental to a team. So, I mean, it points to, maybe what's going on down there in Chicago. Maybe it's not all great in that locker room. So, I mean, they put together some wins. They found a way to win. They have a good defense.
A great defense.
But if you're doing this, you're definitely not championship material. I can tell you that. I don't care what your record is or how good your defense is. If your guys' heads are not in the game in a crucial moment on the last play, literally the last play of the game, it just says a lot about how you're running your team. I think it says more about Coach Eberflus, I think, than
bingo.
Anything. So
bingo. I completely agree with that, man. And I think that was kind of the sentiment earlier today is this. This is it's either being coached or being allowed, and you could tell that's the culture of that team right now. And again, it starts at the top, works its way down. Matter of fact, this was on the McAfee show earlier today. I grabbed a screen grab of it. This cracked me up. First of all, Prince says the Bears. I laughed. I cried from laughing so hard.
Very well said. The night so far. Oh, I love it.
So they have Overreaction Monday on the McAfee show, obviously. If you're not watching Overreaction Monday every week, man, you're really missing out. Especially when the Packers win. It's a lot more enjoyable. If they lose, I'm like, I can't take it today. I got to dig into the tape. I got to figure out what, that type of thing. So that's how I punish myself. I just make myself become a football junkie. But McAfee tweeted out, I can see why Bears fans might feel this way, with a laughing emoji. I don't want to overreact, but and here is the tweet. All right, it's from Gangstalicious was his name. All right,
Gangstalicious. Shout out to the Boondocks. If you know, you know.
His Twitter handle is @ToxicTremaine. All right, and I'm gonna have to paraphrase, or I'm gonna have to throw in some censorship here. All right, he says, I don't want to overreact, but Matt Eberflus has his head so far up his booty, he farts out his mouth. All right, shame to say, I got fooled by the stupid freaking haircut and beard. Freak this team. Freak Cody Parkey. Freak everything. So obviously you could imagine the word he actually used, and I'm going to go ahead and get it off the screen because there may be children watching, but that's the state of the Bears today, Tim. And we're 13 minutes in and we've talked about the Bears. This is usually not my MO, but man, I'm telling you, I have never had a Victory Monday where I was constantly checking to go, what are these Bears fans saying now? This is hilarious. They are absolutely miserable.
We got to hit it one more time.
The Bears still suck.
So, let's move it along. Like I said, Victory Monday in full effect. Let's get back to the chat real quick, and then we'll get into the Packers.
I mean, it is. It's always a little bit sweeter on a Victory Monday when we, in fact, have Victory Monday and the Bears lose. You got to love it.
2-0 for this in the chat says, I vote for Evan Williams as defensive player of the game. The defense completely changed when he went down. Listen, I obviously he's kind of saying that tongue in cheek, but Tim, this was a different defense when Evan Williams wasn't on the field, man. And if I hadn't watched it with my own two eyes and I just heard people talking about it, I would probably roll my eyes like, come on, as a rookie, he has that kind of impact, man. There's no doubt.
Field tilting ability. That's what we talk about. I mean, scheme tilting ability. We touched on this a little bit in the post game yesterday, where I think his absence, what it really did is it showed how much that half really made an effort to kind of scheme a defense around the fact that he's got Evan Williams out there and Javon Bullard on the field and Keyshawn Nixon and Jair Alexander. And when you lose, a piece as valuable as Evan Williams has proven to be, it does. I can see how it threw us out of whack for a little bit. And we talked about Javon Bullard, having a little more than he could handle in that slot assignment. And they had to make some adjustments. And to Coach Hafley's credit, once again, he made the adjustments, and we did enough to, secure the win. But Evan Williams is valuable. And rookie, C.J. Stroud made a comment about this. When they were talking about what a great rookie year he had, no rookie quarterback has put up numbers like this and that last year. And he kind of said, well, why do I have to be good for being a rookie? Can't good quarterback play just be good quarterback play? And I kind of feel that way about Evan Williams. Like, rookie or not, the guy showed up to this league NFL ready, for the most part, and has executed and is proven to be valuable in this secondary. And without him on the field, it's noticeable. I totally agree with that. So I think he's just playing damn good football. It doesn't matter to me that he's a rookie. And we could say that about a lot of guys. Edgerrin Cooper comes to mind. There's several first and second year guys on this team that are balling out right now. So
that's a good point, and that's exactly how Matt LaFleur looks at it too. He's like, it was like halfway through the season last year. Like, I'm done with this is a young team talk. Like, we've had a whole training camp, a half a season. This team isn't young anymore, which it's not accurate when you're the youngest team in the league. But I love that mindset. Like, we're not going to lean on that, man. It's not going to be just a crutch that we use. So Ron Sample in the chat said 4-game win streaks are tough to come by. I mean,
amen, Ron.
And I didn't even realize it last night until I think it was you that brung it up. Somebody had tweeted out or put it in the comments. Was like, it might have been Emilio too, but this is the first time that the Packers went undefeated in October in a long time. I was thinking, holy cow, man, we did. We just went 4-0 in October. Pretty darn cool.
Yeah, this isn't like this isn't baseball, right? Where you win 4 or 5 games and that's kind of common. Same thing in the NBA, right? In the NFL, man, stacking up wins like that is extremely difficult to do. And I'm just proud of the Packers, man, for getting it done. This is exactly where we want to be coming into one of the toughest games, certainly the toughest game of the year so far up to this point, and the most important one. So we did the right thing. We beat the team that we were supposed to beat, and I don't care if it was by a field goal. I don't care if it would have been by an extra point. We got the dub. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah, definitely. Coach Lynn says, these people don't know ball or watch the show, shaking my head. Appreciate you, Coach. One thing about this show, the approach that we take, trying to look at it from the team's perspective, the coaching staff's perspective, breaking down the tape. We lean on the tape rather than analytics, although we will talk analytics a lot on this show. We're looking for the hardcore fans. I'm not looking for a bunch of subscribers to the channel that are just want to get in here and kind of talk casually about football. They're welcome. Don't get me wrong. But I can't stand the whole, hearing fans talk about how they're so upset with this win and it's ridiculous and this ain't good enough and we're going to have to be better and this and that. And then you hear the way that they're versed in the game and breaking it down or lack thereof. And they don't know what the hell they're talking about. And it's like, those people are welcome here, but that's not the target crowd. The target crowd is the fans that want to learn football, and not that I'm going to teach it or Tim's going to teach it or Amelia or anyone else is going to teach it. We're all just fans, Packer fans, total access. But we're going to look at it through the lens of, what did Belichick say about that? What did Bill Walsh write a book about that with? We're going to dig in that way and truly understand the game rather than just throw out emotional. They're going to get some emotion on the show, I promise you that. But that's not the goal. It's a byproduct typically, and it's a bad one, but we try to keep that out. But, yeah, I appreciate you, Coach. Ron Sample says Bears culture problems are generational. That's the thing, too. It's the ownership. Yep. Everybody's talking about the Jets right now. Who was it? Here we go. Dan Lang in the chat says, so sweet, Packers win, Bears losing, the Jets are a dumpster fire. And Belichick has been speaking on this a lot. For those of you who don't know, Bill Belichick absolutely hates the New York Jets. Despises the whole organization. I think he despises the Johnson family because I think it was Woody Johnson's dad that owned the team before, I believe. I don't think he bought it outright. I want to say it was at least passed down one generation. But he talks about, Woody over there, the owner of Woody Johnson, the owner of the Jets. Rather than ready, aim, fire, it's ready, fire, aim is what he says. Meaning there's no method to what he's trying to accomplish. It's just, that looks shiny, let's go get it. That looks shiny, let's go get that. And everyone can blame Aaron Rodgers and say that he's the one pulling the strings. I call BS on that. I think that's just a lazy argument for people that don't like Aaron Rodgers. Woody Johnson is the one calling the shots over there. He has been for a long time. Is he taking input from Aaron? Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. And why would you not? A Hall of Fame quarterback is saying, hey, look, if you get me this, this, and this, that'll help us progress quicker. Whether it's right or wrong, the person who says, no, I'm not going to do that, after your culture has just been absolutely cheeks for so long, it's going to continue to be cheeks.
Yep.
But I'm with you on this whole, the comment there that it's generational with the Bears, because it's the same thing, Tim. Like, how many we seen them when they drafted Jay Cutler. Oh, we got us a franchise, or not when they traded for Jay Cutler from Denver, right? We got a franchise quarterback. Never did pan out, right? They just couldn't put everything together. And then they went from Jay Cutler to, what was it, Mitch Trubisky, I believe, right? And then Mitch Trubisky was supposed to be MVP Mitch. He was supposed to be the next big thing. And then that didn't pan out. And then you go draft Justin Fields, and that's the next. Sooner or later, you got to look up and go, you know what? Maybe we got a culture problem. And I think that starts with the McCaskey family. So.
And the instant Justin Fields is not a Chicago Bear, he's playing his best football.
Exactly.
I mean, there's no that's not a coincidence, right? I mean, that totally backs up what you're saying.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And again, that's what it comes down to, is building the culture of an organization. And you got to have football people controlling that culture. See, like the McCaskies, they don't have football people controlling that culture. They just don't. They went and got this young GM. I can't think of his name now. Ryan Poles, is that right?
Yep.
They go get this young GM. He's kind of analytical, and he's just this young, flashy, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, who is coaching him, right? That should be the question. Who is coaching your GM? Who is it? Who's Coach Goody? Well, Goody comes from that long line of on-the-job training, head scout, right, for Ted Thompson. Ted Thompson was a head scout before he was GM, right? Our boy Ron Wolf before that was a head scout, right, for I think all the way back to Oakland back in the days, or it might even been Los Angeles Raiders, the way that flip-flop back and forth, but he kind of worked under Al Davis. So you've got a football mind that's running things, and that trickles down, and everything's being looked at from a football mind as opposed to a owner like Jerry Jones. I love Jerry Jones's passion. I do. The fact that he is a multi-billionaire and he can be doing anything he wanted in the entire world, and he chooses to be involved with a football team, I love and respect that. I really do. But it doesn't work. You need a football mind at the top making those decisions, right? So
that's right.
I don't know if that makes sense, but Jason Y with the super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. He says the Packers front office is always great at thinking without emotions and parting from players before they decline. And Jason, there's been so many times I've been pissed off about that. And then after just a short stint, it's like, that was the right move. It sucks. You don't want to see your favorite players go. I think they've let go of some a little too early, but the people that they let go just in time compared to the people they let go too early, I mean, obviously they've hit on a lot more than they've missed there. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, I think that's a great point there, removing the emotion. And you got to be kind of cold-blooded in that sense if you're going to work in the front office, but also you've got to have in mind the culture of the team and that camaraderie and why it's important to have someone like an Aaron Jones in the locker room, right?
I think that's a big part of the reason why we held on to Darnell Savage as long as we did, even though the production on the field wasn't quite where we expected, and we felt like maybe he didn't really meet or exceed expectations, but he was such a good locker room guy. He was a great teammate, great leader out there, and it means something here in Green Bay. Really means something in any NFL locker room, but it's something special, man. We value our good leaders and high level of leadership here, and we're kind of seeing it now with Kenny Clark. We talked about Kenny Clark kind of being up and down. He signed that contract extension. That guy is a pillar in that locker room. He is a leader, and that brings value. And so that's when you get those little situations where maybe we feel like we're hanging on to somebody too long, but it's more than just X's and O's all the time. It really is. You got to look at, are your guys ready to play? Great players make players around them better. And when you get guys like that on your team, you tend to want to hold on to them for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But again, Jason, thank you for the super chat, bud. We appreciate you. Let's see here. Greg Rice earlier says, what is Williams' status? Talking about Evan Williams. Tim, have you heard anything on it? Because like 2-0 for this says he should be good to go for Sunday. Greg, I hope that's the case, but I haven't heard anything on Evan Williams. Have you?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
There you go.
See you on Wednesday for the injury report.
Because they're quiet on that one, aren't they? Like and that's the thing. The team didn't come out and say a whole lot about the other injuries. I think there's agents leaking information. The fact that Evan Williams' agent isn't leaking out information worries me a little bit. Like it might be a little worse than it actually is, or they might actually be taking advice from Evan, which was taking advice from the team, and they're actually going, "Hey, please keep this in house. That could be
Yeah.
the case too, right? So, yeah. Let's see here. Fred McFarley says, "Are we doing the PTA hot piss play of the game?" I'm going to show multiple plays of the game here in a second. And it's not going to be chalk talk. We're going to do that tomorrow, where we break it down really in depth. But we'll call these the hot piss plays of the game. All right, we'll hit on those here in a little bit. So. I appreciate you, bud. Nick McSwain says, drama follows Rodgers because the media makes it that way. 99% of his teammates have liked him and says something. That says something. Could not agree more, Nick. Could not agree more. But again, I want to move on from the Rodgers talk because everybody is so damn emotional about it. You can't have a conversation. I just want everything to be rooted in truth and fact, and everyone kind of draws their own conclusion there in that regard. But I completely agree with you there, Nick, for sure. Drew D said, remember how many fans were upset we picked Goot over Elliott Wolf? I remember that. And
Yes.
Drew, the reason they are is because they love their heroes. Ron Wolf was a hero, and they love the idea of Ron Wolf, his son taking over and obviously doing the same things as dad did here. It's just like Wisconsin football players, right? Packer fans at heart want Wisconsin football players on the Packers. They just want that, right? That's why Mark Tauscher to this day is so beloved, is because he was a Wisconsin boy and a Wisconsin Badger, and got to go on and overachieve, being drafted really late. Was he a 7th round pick, I believe, if I remember correctly, 6th or 7th?
Something like that, 6th or 7th round, yeah.
Yeah. And same thing happens with those Wisconsin football players. People get upset when the Packers pass up on them, and it's the same thing with Elliott Wolf. And again, it's why you've got to remove the emotion and go, hey, all right, who is the better guy? And I love how they picked Goot. I remember Mark Murphy's press conference, and I remember people talking about how he basically got everybody's scouting reports together, and Goot had the most accurate scouting report of anyone. It's like he had all the hits. It's like, all right, that's our dude. I think that's awesome. Not that they're going to dig too far into the scouting department to hire a inexperienced general manager. Obviously, Goot was kind of the head scout for so long, but looking at his draft record over others, probably even Elliott Wolf, I don't know if he did any scouting or not. He probably did look at prospects and provide grades as well. But yeah, I'm glad we picked Goot over Elliott Wolf too. We'll see what he does, man. He's still got time to turn New England around. Obviously, they beat the Jets yesterday. Which that's not really saying much, seeing how that team is just in absolute disarray right now. So, all right, Tim, let's move on here on Victory Monday. We got the locker room speech from Matt LaFleur, about 2 minutes long. Let's go ahead and hit this and see what the coach had to say after this emotional win. And yeah, you can keep it down. It'll be fine. I think we're good on this one. Here we go, man.
Here's the deal, man. You talk about a total team victory. Holy, face some adversity today. Holy, did people step in, and we didn't miss a beat. That was a total team effort. We knew it was going to be a 4-quarter battle. Give it up for yourself, man. Starting on defense. How about our punt? Daniel, I see Bo Melton flying down there. The protection was great. It definitely made a difference in this game. And you got to give it up for this guy. All he does is come in and kick game winners. Brandon McManus. How about our defense? Give it up for Coop, man. A sack fumble, a TFL, and a big-ass PBU at the end of the game. We had X with another pick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And Heavy D with that fumble recovery is good to have his ass back out there.
The disruptor.
How about on offense, man? This guy comes in, delivers a huge pass at the end of the game. How about Malik Willis at the end of the game? How about Josh Jacobs, 25 for 127? But the resiliency shown by this team, all right? And here's the deal. We had a lot of guys playing through some, all right? Jordan Love playing through some. Evan Williams playing through some. Josh Myers playing through some. And there's countless others, right? We have Eric Wilson stepping in for Quay. This is a total team game, man. And the strength of our team is our team. Yeah. All right? And we got to keep battling together. Give it up for yourself one more time. That was a great resilient effort, man. I'm so proud of you guys.
Pack on me. Pack on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Love it, man.
I love
the strength of our team is our effing team, is what he said. Love it. Nick McSwain says LaFleur making editing team work overtime. LOL. You got that right.
That's just communicating with your players, man. That's that passion and that fiery, that piss and vinegar. That's what we need. You need that sometimes. A few strategically placed F-bombs, they do wonders when you're firing up your men out there. So I love it.
No doubt about that. Coach Lynn says the team loves Jacobs. You can tell. Coach, I picked up on that too, man. And again, he was a captain out in Vegas, and obviously they were looking to trade him at one point. That says a lot when you're voted a captain and the team's still trading you and you still get voted a captain. I mean, that shows how
the disconnect in that Raider locker room, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like between ops and what's going on in that locker room. That team loved him. Everyone else didn't, apparently, and I'm glad because he's a Packer now.
Yeah, and the article I read, and it sounds a little weird. It's the first time me being a football fan that this kind of article's popped up, but his baby mama, for lack of a better way of saying it, Josh Jacobs is the mother of his child, right? Was interviewed about him, and you think, okay, if anybody's got anything bad to say, it's the ex that the relationship didn't work out. You know what I mean? That type of thing. She was like, he's just the best father. He's a stand-up guy. He's someone who's there when we need him. And it's like when you got the person that could be deemed possibly your biggest enemy, basically saying this is the best guy on the planet Earth. Like that really says a lot. I don't know. It really stuck with me when I read that. But yeah, Josh Jacobs is the man. Jason Watt says love is, quote, limited. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. We actually got an update on it. We'll hit it next. Drew D says, yeah, Love did not look happy, LOL. I love that he didn't look happy too, Tim. I don't know how you feel, but you could tell that guy's like, I'm not losing my damn job. Not that it's in, not that it's in turmoil or anything or up for grabs by no stretch of the imagination. But the thing with Love in that video was like, Jordan Love having to fight through some stuff, and he kind of shook his head like he wanted to be on that field with his teammates, man. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I don't think it's so much of I don't want to lose my job. I think it's more of like J. Cole's saying here, look pissed. Yeah, probably pissed that he couldn't finish the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many times did he try to make it go out there, and ultimately he couldn't? And, not to sound like a crybaby, but it's a little frustrating that, a late hit after a play is basically what took him off the field finally. And wasn't even remotely discussed by the officials. There were no warnings, no anything. So it's a little frustrating. And I'm just glad he didn't, set himself back. IR type stuff here. It looks like early going looks like it's going to be all right, even if he's day to day. That's positive news. But I think Jay Money was just frustrated that he could not finish that game and he couldn't help his team win.
Yeah.
That's all I think that was.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see here. Number one Packer fan, Love was probably frustrated and in pain, hence his facial expression.
Yep.
Nick McSwain, LaFleur was asked about Love getting good news, and he said, quote, I hope it didn't come from the organization. So there you go. That's all you need to know about who leaked the information. It was definitely Mulugeta, I think is the name of his agent. So it was that agency that leaked that out. Drew D, Love is a competitor. Completely agree. Coach Lynn, Love was in tears on the sideline. He just wanted to be out there with his teammates. I think I'm just damn proud he's the quarterback of this team. And I'm also damn proud that Malik Willis is your backup because, man, that dude just comes in and continues to play lights out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dennis Shook with the super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. He says, when you play a team is so important. We played the Vikings when they were the best team in the NFC. Now we play the peaking Lions, best in the NFL. It's tough. But again, Dennis, the way to look at it, and I know you know this, I'm just kind of speaking out, thinking out loud here. The way I look at it is this is a great measuring, like the Texans. What did I say before the Texans game? This is a great measuring stick game. Let's see how good we are. That's one of the best teams in the AFC. Now we're going up against arguably the best team in the entire National Football League. We're going to find out so much about this football team in Green Bay this week. And again, they might get beat by 20 points. When they're down by 20, I want to see how they're reacting. That's going to tell us a lot about the team. They may take it to the wire and lose a close one, right? And show we can go to bat with that team. There's going to be so much to be taken out, and not just from an emotional standpoint and just a global aspect of, okay, how well did they play against that team, but also in the specific strategy of the game. We're about to put on tape, and the Lions are about to put on tape how they think they should attack the Green Bay Packers both offensively and defensively. And then you take that into the next matchup, and you actually take it into the next week too, right? So I'm excited. So you're going to be in the house, right, Tim?
Oh, I'll be there. I'm due. Every time I go to a Lions-Packers game, it does not end well. So I think we're due. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be screaming my butt off. I know all the other gold package ticket holders are going to be loud and not sitting in their seats for this huge divisional matchup against our arch nemesis, the Lions, who have absolutely owned our behinds at Lambeau Field the last few times. So I think it's time for a win, and I agree with Dennis. Like, this is a great time. We got a bye week next week, so it's like, I know we got guys banged up. Hell, the Detroit Lions have guys that are banged up. Let's throw everything we have at this team and win at home and keep our hopes for a division title still alive. I mean, the division title is still in play, guys. So we need every win we can, and I don't think we go into this game being intimidated at all. I think we have to go into this game being smart and realizing that we know who they are. We know what this team is capable of doing. What are we going to do to prevent that from happening to us, at home in front of our fans? So I think this Packers team is going to be tuned up, ready to play on Sunday for sure.
Thank you so much for the super chat, Dennis. We appreciate you, bub. Let's get to the Jordan Love update that we kind of talked about a little bit. So Tom Pelissero had tweeted out, Packers quarterback Jordan Love will undergo tests Monday, but there's optimism he avoided a long-term injury today, per sources. Love kept playing after tweaking his groin, but eventually had to come out. Status to be determined for next Sunday's showdown against the Lions. So then he quote tweeted that and gave an update. He being Tom Pelissero, and said, an MRI confirmed optimism about Jordan Love's status. He'll be day-to-day and has a shot to play Sunday. So that was obviously information leaked out from Jordan's camp, and that's why Matt LaFleur made the comment. And one of the reasons is you want to keep that close to the vest. You don't want the other team to be able to prepare for any specific quarterback, right? So if I'm Jordan, this is just me, and he probably won't. I'm going to my agency and going, hey, look, let's don't do that again. Okay, let's try to help the team as much as we can, and keep that information kind of in-house. If you wanted to really kind of dig into the conspiracy side, you could say, are they worried that Jordan's not going to play? So let's paint this public picture that he's healthier than he actually is. So they're kind of pressured into playing him as opposed to playing Malik. I just want him to be 100%. I don't want him to re-injure anything. So again, we talked about, the fact that the knee, obviously you're having to overcompensate because of the knee and the weakness there from the MCL earlier. He's still wearing the brace. Those are the type of things that lead to these other injuries, right? We kind of talked about that last night, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I just don't know what to think, because I don't know what you can really do, right? Like, even if Jordan did say something to his agent,
Right.
like, hey, keep this close to, hey, well, they're going to do what they're going to do, kind of. It's tough. Maybe it's all part of a bigger plan, though. I don't know. I do know this as a fan. I feel confident in both of our quarterbacks. We've seen Malik Willis prove that he can start with a whole week of install and a game plan and go out and execute. Malik Willis has proven that he can come in as a backup, which we saw for the first time yesterday, actually being called upon, middle of the game. Can you come in and finish this, get us a win? He's proven he can do that. Obviously, you know how I feel about Jay Money. I'll take a 55% Jay Money over half the quarterbacks in the NFL at 100%. So either way, going into this game, I feel good. As fans, we want to know who the hell is going to be the quarterback, though, clearly. And maybe I can sneak a peek at practice this week, see who's taking reps with the ones or something. But I don't know. And the less Detroit knows, the better. I do agree with that sentiment for sure. So the fact that it's up in the air could be a good thing right now. At least it's how it looks on the surface.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point, man. Let's see. Let's go to the chat. Drew D says, I have a feeling that some of these media members are going to the family members of players and trying to get them to slip up. There was somebody last week for another team. I can't remember who it was, but the team basically said, he was, they were still looking into it, blah, blah, blah. They were waiting tests. I want to say it was the Bills. It was somebody on the Bills, I believe, because I think it was Bean that talked about it. Anyway, that player's mother came out on social media and said, no, he's fine. They asked how he's doing. He said, no, he's fine. Everything's good to go. And that GM came back and was like, okay, well, that's news to me. I'm just trying to blow it, put it under the rug, sweep it under the rug. And then all of a sudden that player did play. And it was like, okay, they were They did. I mean, it was his mother on Twitter talking about it. So, welcome to 2024.
Yeah, man. Crazy.
Let's see. Braden in the chat says, at this point, I'll definitely take Malik over a hurt Love. To me, it makes the most sense because you don't want to risk him having a worse injury, right? And Malik's serviceable, man. You know, and every time that Malik goes out there and plays and performs at a high level, all you're doing is increasing his stock. He's basically on the books for $1 million this year and $1 million next year. That's it. And if he goes out and balls out, and every time he does ball out, that price goes up. When we get to the offseason, Tim, get ready. Unless Malik completely collapses the rest of the year, when we get to the offseason, there's going to be some phones ringing at 1265. And if it ain't a first-round pick, I'm keeping Malik Willis in-house. That's just me. Because the dude, there's a conversation to be had about, I don't even want to say it. We'll save it for another time. We'll save it for another time. That's not a tease either. I just don't want to get into it. My vote is anything less than a first-round pick, not worth it. Keep Malik Willis on the roster next year. That's me personally. So let's see. Rod Sample in the chat. Lions still won't know what to believe. They need to prepare for Willis no matter what. Amen. That's why it's important to keep that information in-house, right? And then Jason Y with the super chat. Appreciate you, buddy. Said, does it seem like Matt LaFleur saves the creative plays for Willis? Jordan's play seems a lot more aggressive, and he hasn't been taking the checkdowns. You know what this is, Jason? And people don't want to admit this. This is Aaron Rodgers all over again. Remember the conversation with Aaron, Tim, that last year? He's playing hero ball, and he's changing the play. He's changing LaFleur's play. He won't run LaFleur. No, that is LaFleur giving the quarterback, QB1, freedom to change that play if he wants to be aggressive or gets an advantageous look, because there's no time. The headset's off. The headset's off at 15 seconds. It's on the QB to diagnose this. All right, here's the play we're going with. I think with Malik, just like a young Jordan, isn't relying on, okay, let me go out here and kind of make this magic happen. He's just kind of running with the game plan. So I think it's Jordan taking that next level with his game and trying to play, with his brain as much as his arm and trying to get you in the absolutely perfect play. The problem is the defense gets paid too, and that's when you get out there seeing ghosts a little bit. So I don't think that he saves the creative plays for Willis. I don't think that at all, because they've been like the play we're going to talk about here in a minute where he hits Jaden Reed for the 51-yarder that puts him in position to kick the game-winning field goal.
That was a can play, right?
That was a can play and something they drew up on the sidelines. Now,
and so what that shows you what type of leader Jay Money is, because Malik's been here, a few months now, right? Or going on a couple months. And clearly it's rubbing off on Malik's game because Malik is feeling comfortable out there enough to can and understand what is going on. He clearly LaFleur's comfortable. You've got a backup that you can give some latitude to, and you can playground football, draw it in the grass on the sideline type thing, and let him run it. I think that tells you how he's developing behind a guy like Jordan Love, who obviously developed under AR-12. So the lineage continues, it looks like, leading more proof to your point of first round or bust for any kind of trade proposal for Malik Willis going into the future, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right, that's going to do it for hour one. Those of you listening on the pod, we'll see you on the other side for hour two. We appreciate y'all.